Alright guys, today we are at the Smitten in Rock Hollow. This is a retreat located in the forest of Maine. This retreat has 360-degree views of the entire forest and has been extremely nice to stay in. The entire retreat is located on 120 acres of private land and also has 6 other retreats that you can check out. I'd guess you consider this a tiny home because it's only a few hundred square feet. I don't have the exact square footage, but it looks like it's only a few hundred square feet, and they've jam-packed everything you might need for a weekend getaway into a nice small cabin here in the woods. So let's check it out. So firstly, I think the best way to get to this property would actually be to like and subscribe the video if you like this type of content. It really helps me out. But in actuality, the best way to get to the property is through their half-mile long trail on dirt road. When we were coming in, it was pretty rocky though, so if you have a 4-wheel drive car, probably best to use that instead of a sedan or a lower vehicle because you're gonna scratch it up for sure. The exterior of this cabin is made of western red cedar, and it actually seems like half the property is this deck space that they have outside. On the deck, there are 2 chairs and a table. Wouldn't be surprised if they made the table. It looks like something that's homemade from one of the stumps of the trees, maybe when they were doing the building process. Either way, it looks really nice out here on this giant deck that takes up, I think, like half the space of the property. There's also a mesh-in section in the back, the small chair, and a grill. I think that's for more summertime days when you want to do some grilling out here and you don't want the bugs to get in. But for now, we have no bugs. It's April, so we're gonna stay out on this front porch for the most part. My first impressions of the property were that it's way bigger than you see in the listing photos on Airbnb. I don't know if it's the pictures they took or what. And you are also completely surrounded by nature. There's nothing in sight. So I can only imagine what this place would look like during the summertime when all the trees are actually filled with leaves. I guess I gotta book another trip. But that's enough of that. Let's go take a look on the interior of the cabin. So there are 2 entrances to the property. One is through the sliding glass door at the front, and the other is through the mesh that leads to the separate section of the home. These are gonna be the only 2 doors you need to make sure are locked at night. Now, do I think anything is gonna hurt you out here? No, at least not humans. But I know there are bears around here, and I know they can break into things. And it's also extremely dark out here at night. Once we got inside, we noticed that they left us 2 pumpkin muffins. They were so good after a 4-hour long trip. And you'll also notice that there's no separate room besides the bathroom. It's kind of all in one place. This is definitely going to be the place you want to be if you want to go off the grid for a retreat, because there actually is no internet or TV here, and it kind of makes sense. You wouldn't want to be in the woods and watching Netflix. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Instead though, they leave you with some board games, some books, some cards that you can play, and so it's a lot more fun when you experience nature. Speaking of nature, man, these woodpeckers are not letting me record. There is a small dresser that you can use to store some clothes, but I don't think that you're gonna be filling it up because this place probably isn't gonna be the place for you if you want to stay for more than a few days. And on that same note, this property is actually powered by, looks like a giant solar panel and a battery that they actually connect in the back near the bathroom that has a percentage on it, so you can see if the battery goes down. The battery is almost empty. You actually can ask them to come out and replace it for you, which is really nice. But just know that they said 3 days is about the maximum that you can have on that battery life. So it's important to note. You will still be able to charge your phone and your other devices though, because they have outlets everywhere. I think they said that most of the power actually comes from drawing the water into the property for taking a shower or something like that. But just be aware of the number that is on that battery. The heating for this property is controlled by a little fireplace that's gas powered. It's kind of the centerpiece of this location. The couch actually doubles as a Murphy bed, but more on this later. And to the right of the bed, you'll see a bunch of board games and all those cards and stuff that I said before they use to occupy your time if you're bored. There are giant windows all around the property that give you the nice view of outside, but if you ever want some more privacy, you can always pull down the screen so you can hide yourself inside like you normally do at your own house. All right, let's check out the kitchen. So this is a very compact and nice looking kitchen. They use this greenish color countertop and added in that black cabinetry at the bottom. It looks really, really clean. They have a French press. I just learned about that today. I'm gonna try to use it out this morning before we head out. The coffee smells fantastic, and they leave you that and some tea if you're into that type of thing. I'm really not into both, but I've never used a French press, so we're gonna have to try that out. They have a small gas-powered stove. I've heard that cooks and professionals like to cook over a gas-powered stove or like a real flame because the food tastes better. And this also has a tiny stove underneath in case you're cooking something, but it is a very small stove. On the left of the kitchen, you'll see they have a full full-size fridge. Now, I thought that fridges needed a lot of power to work. I guess not. They have this full-size fridge here. You're probably not gonna fill it up. Like I said, not gonna be here for very many days, but it's nice to have the option of that full-size fridge. They also have this little baby lantern you can use if you need to go outside. It's super bright. I think it also doubles as a portable charger if you're headed out into the woods for a hike. Nice they included that, just don't take it or else you have to pay a fine. They have some plates and cups on these floating shelves above that also match the same black design as the cabinets at the bottom. The last part of the kitchen is a small table that you can see when you come in. Again, seated for 2 people. This whole place has a 2-person theme. Clearly it wasn't meant for more, so they did a good job of maximizing their space in the kitchen. All right, let's check out the bathroom at this place because it's one of the most interesting ones I've seen in my life. I think they did a good job with the space in the bathroom. It feels like a regular bathroom besides the fact that there's an old-fashioned bathtub that you have to use, which is interesting. Fun fact though, I actually have used a bath like this one time before at another Airbnb property. It was a great experience, and this was like the same experience. Only thing is, like, I'm 6'4", so it's hard to get into like a tiny tub like that, but I made it work. Toilet's a composting toilet, so it's not like it has running water or is connected to plumbing. That's the one thing you have to get used to when you're here. You might have everything else, but the toilet isn't the best. It's also probably another reason why you wouldn't stay out here for more than a few days. The toilet isn't going to be able to handle all your load for a few days, but if you wanted to, I'm sure you could ask them to switch it out or do something. They also include these 2 robes. Like I said, this is like there's a 2-person theme here. There's also a 2-person limit on the property, so that's a nice touch. And they do have hot water, so don't be afraid of taking cold showers, even though they're good for you. Now let's take a look at the bedroom. We have the Murphy bed. Like I said before, it's actually a queen size Murphy bed, and this thing is so comfortable. So it obviously folds into a couch when you're not using it that you can use in the living room, but when it's down, this thing is really soft, and they have a bunch of blankets that they stored on the top and in this little drawer. If you need more blankets, you can have it. All right, so you have no TV, you have no internet, you're plopped down in the middle of the woods. What do you do for fun? They have a hiking trail on a 1,300 acre nature preserve. They include some safety vests when you're out here. We just used a safety vest because we didn't know when it was. I think it was fine because we saw other people out here without it. And you don't want to get shot in your retreat. So when we were hiking out there were 3 dogs. Their owner's dogs came up to us. They actually led us through the forest, which was awesome. We literally walked their dogs for the day. We weren't expecting that. Their dogs were amazing. It was a great experience. On the lake, they have kayaks that you can take out if you want to explore. There's 2 of them. I think all the retreats actually share that same kayak, so it might not be there. We didn't even get to the lake because it was actually so cool. So we went to another lake that was closer down the road that I'll put some footage in of. There's signs all over the place that can show you where you actually are so you don't feel like you're lost. There's also a sauna and a hot tub that you can rent. These actually aren't on your property, but if you contact the hosts on Airbnb, they'll let you into their property. They actually live on this 120 acre piece of land, and the sauna and hot tub are right next to their own house. They'll let you use it and you can enjoy that time. But if you want something a little closer to your actual cabin, they do have a fireplace that you can use, and they keep all the firewood in a separate container in that meshed in area, so you can take that for $7 at this time. With inflation, who knows, that might be 20 bucks like next year, I don't know. I'd also really recommend bringing food because for us it was a 4-hour drive to get here, and that extra hour to go drive to get some food was not ideal. It was not fun. Overall though, I'd say this place is definitely meant for 2 people. There's a constant, consistent theme of 2 when you're here. There's 2 robes, they left 2 muffins, there's only 2 safety vests if you're gonna walk through the woods. I'm sure a person coming alone or a person like me with their little brother can come here too. Anything more than that, that's you and the host, it's not me. Either way, if you guys are interested in staying at this property, I'm gonna be leaving the listing in the description below. You guys can check it out, or one of their other 6 Airbnbs that they have on this property. I'm sure they have bigger ones if you have bigger groups, and this place is super nice. Would definitely recommend it. Appleton, Maine, check it out. I'll see you guys on the next adventure. Safe travels.